Magic the Gathering is by and far the most played trading card game in the ecosystem. Frankly, I don't believe the numbers are even close. But when it comes to collecting Magic the Gathering, that side of our hobby has gone by the wayside. In the last 5 to 7 years, people have even said it's impossible to collect Magic the Gathering anymore, especially new Magic. But I'm here to tell you, I think Wizards of the Coast deserves a little bit credit before you freak out. I think there's a lot of evidence that points to this, and I'm willing to say, Magic collecting is back, baby. Let's talk about it. The trading card game space is a super unique one, and I can't imagine the struggles it might be to try and create a trading card game in the 2020s. Looking at some modern attempts at this, such as the Sorcery trading card game, you have to make an engaging product that people love to go to their game store and play every single week, as well as something that people are proud to show off and, hey, stack a bunch of sharks up on their shelves. But Magic the Gathering has been fighting this battle for the better part of 30 years now, and it hasn't always been a primary focus. In fact, in recent memory, Magic has been, well, seemingly less collectible than it's ever been. But I'm here to tell you, I believe there are signs, and this video might get a bit tinfoil heady, but stay with me, there are signs that Magic the Gathering collecting is back in a big way, and I think this leads to changes in the future and a moment in time that we are going to look back on and think, wow, I can't believe that happened. So I want to talk about all of that today, but if you haven't yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button because we're racing to 6750 subs. Thank you all so much for constantly joining the community, and this has been a wild ride on the old YouTubes. But when it comes to Magic the Gathering collecting, we look back to an era where there wasn't really anything people were chasing. Wizards of the Coast was making foils more commonplace, putting them more frequently in packs, and then thus diluting the collectability of the regular cards that we played every single week in that foil treatment. And they kind of counteracted this by the massive variant push. They started to make a million different versions of this card and tried to entice us by saying, hey, you might be able to get a regular foil more commonly, but guess what, this alt art, this full art, this borderless treatment looks special, it looks different, maybe you'll be proud of this. And for the most part, as a community, we didn't really take to this, and I don't believe that we didn't take to it because people don't like different arts or borderless cards or more of the card frame gone and more picture. I don't think there's any inherent like underlying reason we didn't take to it in that sense. I think the reason we didn't take to it is, well, it also came at a time that Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering upped their print capabilities. They started printing so many more boxes, and so many more of these products contained these new chase variants and alternate ways to view cards and see this art. And because of that, it was readily available in our community. When something's readily available, it loses a bit of the collectability luster. Now, this can be counteracted with time, but Wizards of the Coast also upped their print cycle. They said, we're going to give you more sets, more frequently, with more variants. And not only did we get a bit overwhelmed and felt, hey, what do we do with all this on its initial kind of ramp up period, we also said, this bucks the trend of everything we're used to. At that point in time, Magic the Gathering was collectible because, well, either something was rare or something was hyper played and coveted. Now we were getting different versions of cards that were played semi-frequently, but we never really grew attached to because they were coming out so quickly. The formats that we were engaging with were changing so rapidly, and thus Magic collectability definitely took a hit. And Wizards of the Coast tried for some time to bring us back. They gave us set-specific treatments and new things with each release, and then they tried remastering products that worked for a while, pulling at our heartstrings and bringing back the specialness of old border foils and things of that nature. But again, as those things ramp up and we get more and more of them, we lose interest a bit. But I don't think that's the case as I make this video in 2023. I think we're seeing trends in the exact opposite direction. And we all know, if you've been on this channel for a while now, you know that that starts with my belief in the serialized card system. Now, it's not just about serialized cards. This video would be super easy. Serialized cards make Magic the Gathering collectible. Thank you. Have a great day. No, it is far more than that. But my belief is that the serialized card system did show us that Wizards of the Coast notices that we are not collecting Magic the Gathering anymore, and that it is something that they they think is important enough to bring us back into the fold of collecting their card game. They are putting some importance on it and they're paying attention to it. But it goes beyond just like serialized cards. Serialized cards satisfy a lot of the conditions we talked about. They are limited printed, they feel rare, they feel special, you're proud to show them off. Look no further than like everything behind me. In fact, I added a Beckett graded 9 Well of Lost Dreams to my collection last week, so I'm pretty excited about that. But it's more than just serialized cards, and actually, I think Universes Beyond is going to help the collectability of Magic the Gathering. Yes, even if like old school Magic people like me aren't a massive fan of the whole Universes Beyond thing. And I have evidence to prove that. Look at Lord of the Rings and things like the Nazgul and the Scene cards. Those cards are probably more expensive than they should be. Heck, even the ones coming out of the bundle, and yes, I know the bundle is expensive because of the One Ring. We're not talking about the price of the bundle here, but more people than I ever could have imagined are on social media showing pictures of the scenes laid out in their binder, the scenes placed around their house in shelves. And that continued with the idea that these Nazgul were hard to come by. They seemed like they were hard to come by in packs, and we don't know the actual numbers on that, but people wanted to gather all 9 of them and show them off and put them on display or have them as their own. And these aren't inherently expensive cards or inherently hard to get. Heck, most of the stuff you can go to TCGPlayer and pick up enough copies of and add to your collection if you so desired today. But people's pride and joy when it comes to finishing these little mini collections and putting them together and putting them on display shows me that we are achieving a collectability that I think is necessary for a trading card game like Magic the Gathering or other trading card games to be successful. And that is, we have to have collectability at multiple price points. Now, I attest, and I did a video or a live stream about it, and you can join me every Friday morning for Friday Morning Magic at 8 a.m. Central Time, but I said this on a live stream, I do believe that there are other collecting opportunities in Magic the Gathering right now, and more coming up in the near future. So here's where we're going to get a bit tinfoil hatty. I want you to consider a world with me where Universes Beyond is doing what it's doing right now. So we live in this reality where Universes Beyond is bringing more outside eyes into Magic the Gathering. And I know we're doing an imaginary scenario now, but I want to really emphasize that's currently happening. We are getting more eyes on Magic the Gathering than ever before. And as those eyes focus in on Magic the Gathering, they go through the stages of that almost every Magic the Gathering player goes through. And I bet each and every one of you can kind of walk through these stages with me. We start playing Magic. We have some fun. It's super casual. Then we get more and more into it. We play more frequently. We get into the deck building process. We really sink our teeth into everything that we love about this new hobby. And then the binder starts, and we start to feel proud about things. We're putting $5 cards in little mini inner sleeves because, hey, that card costs $5 freaking for a piece of cardboard. And we start to fall in love with our stuff, and we show them off. And as we show them off, and we show more people at our local game store in our community, well, guess what? We see their collections. When we see their collections, we realize that this collectability, this building our binder goes so much deeper, and we start to interact with things like limited printing cards, older versions of cards, secret lair variants, and yes, even the reserve list. Now, this new community that's coming into Magic the Gathering is not necessarily all going to stay around, but some of them will, and they will all go through the same process that we all went through when it comes to falling in love with playing and then collecting Magic the Gathering. And I do believe that historically had ended at something like the reserve list. You got engaged with Magic, you played for a while, you collected, you discovered what the reserve list was, you spent a little time interacting, maybe building a reserve list binder, maybe at least reading what it was, and then you kind of fell back and settled in somewhere. But some people settle further on that collectability spectrum and decide, hey, I'm all in, I want to collect this game. Well, if we get more people wanting to collect Magic the Gathering right now, starting that process, kicking off their steps or their walkthrough through everything that's going on, I do think that leads to a larger collectability audience in the future, and it exists in a game that is ready to support it. Heck, we talked about serialized cards, but look no further than Wilds of Eldraine and the confetti foil variants. Now, historically, a special variant to a set had not done very well, but it seems that Wizards of the Coast actually printed these in a limited fashion. These cards are hard to come by in the collector booster box. Now, that doesn't mean they won't Kamigawa Neon Dynasty this thing up and print a million copies of the booster box, but right now, those cards are collectible. There are serialized cards that are collectible. And heck, in Doctor Who, there are universes beyond IP that Who fans and even some Lord of the Rings fan things might want to collect, as well as serialized cards and things to add to the limited nature of these products that we are going to be getting our hands on. I say all that to say this. Wizards of the Coast has taken notice that Magic the Gathering went through a period where it wasn't as collectible, and they have made a proper adjustment. And because of that, with the world and trading card games becoming what they are right now, and games having to be more than about how much is the box worth, how much value am I getting, how much is my collection worth, I think we are going to have a lot of brand new enthusiasts sinking their teeth into what we know and love, and really sticking around for some time. Now, again, every Magic the Gathering player, they play for 3 years, they fall off for 2, they come back for the rest of their life, whatever that natural cycle that happens will probably continue to happen. But I think this is major news. Like, nobody's talking about the fact that I think collectability in Magic, especially in the last year and a half, is all the way back, baby. I think we are breeding a whole new ground of people who in the future will want to collect, and I think that bodes well for things like the reserve list, things like serialized cards, things like special variants in sets that we come to know and love. But I want to know what you think. I know that you guys think that I'm always talking just nothing but positive about Magic the Gathering, but if that's what you think, again, you must not be subscribed, because some of these videos are pretty scathing. But this is my honest opinion. I really do believe it's coming back, and hey, I know it's got my attention with some cool stuff that I'm adding to my shelf, and I hope that you are finding some way to engage with the collectability of the game as well as playing the game. Furthermore, I'm thinking about adding some gameplay content as a second video on certain days, because I play so much Magic, like on Magic Online and Arena and stuff like that around the house. Let me know if you think I should add some gameplay content. Let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh. Remember to share this video on any social media platform where you engage with Magic the Gathering. And thanks for watching. I will see you around. All right, goodbye.